Hello friends, I have the We Are Makers Explosion card punch box. They do have two different explosion punch boards. There's this one which is the card, and then they have one that's for creating a box. Kind of like one of those memory album explosion memory albums. But I'm looking forward to this one. I am kind of curious. I think I have a die that can do something similar, or at least I used to. I might have destashed it at this point. But I thought that I had something from Crafter's Companion and I couldn't find it. And I saw this for a decent price on Amazon and decided to treat myself to it because I love the We Are Makers punch boards. I just feel like a lot of times, especially like the shadow box punch board, I feel like sometimes even if you have a die that does something very similar, the punch board kind of makes it really simple. And things like the envelope punch board and stuff like that, I feel like it's easier to do on a punch board than it is with dies that could do the equivalent, especially since generally speaking, the punch board allows you to do multiple different sizes, whereas dies really typically only allow you to do one specific size of a particular thing, like a bag, an envelope, a box. So the packaging is hard to really get into this, so I'm almost there. This is going to be a first look video, so don't look at this video as a definitive tutorial on how to make one of these, because I've never made one, and I think I've seen a tutorial on it. I've definitely seen those like short videos that We Are Makers puts out, so I kind of get in general what's supposed to happen and how to make it, but I've just never done it myself. And also the purpose of a first look video is just to see the out of box experience and how easy or hard it is to just pick up and start using right away. So I gotta say, there's a lot. I've never seen this before where they've taped the instructions. I guess they really don't want you to lose it. Surprisingly, this tape came off really well. As sticky as it is, it did not tear anything. And then you kind of have the classic little holder with the scoring tool. Looks like we have some rubber bands and some stamps, which my guess is these are acrylic stamps, not photopolymer. And this kind of shows you what's gonna happen. So you can create a little card that you put into an envelope, and then when you pull it out, a whole bunch of confetti spills out, which I think is kind of fun. And it does include the rubber bands, and there's a strong smell of the rubber bands. I just got a whiff of that. Okay. Oh, these are really pretty fat rubber bands. I was thinking they would be like, those little thin ones. But these are kind of substantial. They're like 1/8 of an inch wide. So there's that. Some things are printed, so where you see teal, that's printed on. And of course, there's the grooves for scoring. But there are some things that are engraved into or molded into the plastic. So, let's see. It's kind of hard to see even to the naked eye, but it kind of helps you, like right here. It says envelope score line. And then envelope score line. So it's kind of nice that some things are actually, and a lot of We Are Makers boards are like this, where you have some of the instructions and it's actually, engraved, molded into the plastic. So why that matters is that sometimes what's printed on can scratch off, can wear out over time, and that might fade. But some of the more critical things, like where you're scoring, if you're going to be making an envelope versus the tray versus the card, because those are, or the box, I guess, because those are the things that this thing creates. It's kind of nice to have that as little reminders. And I feel like We Are Makers does a really good job of having the step-by-step instructions, but then sort of having like a recap on the board so that you can more easily just get a quick reminder of, oh yeah, that's how it's supposed to look when I'm done. So I like that. This does look a little bit more complicated than your standard. One of the things that I'm going to just say out of the gates, that I'm going to be curious to do, but in a follow-up video, is I have seen this where there's a lot that's not used in this 12 by 12, and what gets cut away versus what you end up with at the end of the day feels really wasteful. I mean, not that you can't do something with these other things, but part of me wonders if there's a more efficient way of using your paper, because this is just a lot of waste, it feels like. I almost wonder if, like, could you turn this 90 degrees? Or because they seem to be mirrored, can you just make half and then make another half and glue them together? I don't know. I want to explore how to make this more efficient, more of an efficient use of paper. Maybe one that doesn't require 12 by 12. I don't know. I just have to do it the one time so that I can see what you end up with at the end of the day. And then hopefully that'll help me to understand what all the lines are for and what goes where. And maybe I can adapt it to be a little bit more of an efficient use later. So I am not going to read this in advance. I think I'm just going to roll with it. Probably won't do an envelope because I feel like the envelope is pretty standard. And I might just even do the envelope off screen perhaps. I don't know. We'll see. So I do have a piece of 12 by 12 here. And, it says trim your cardstock to 12 by 12 as step number 1. I should double check that this is actually 12 by 12. Because you might sometimes buy 12 by 12 paper, but just because manufacturing process, it may be a little bit imperfect, or you might have the little branding strip. This paper, I don't know where I got it from. It does not have a branding strip. But it does measure exactly 12 by 12, so no trimming required. Okay, that was step number 1. Step number 2 says to line your paper up with the box, so there's that. And then step number 3 says score paper at all score lines from numbers 1 through 8. All right. These are numbered. I'm surprised that the numbers are painted on, but I get why they are painted on, because I think it makes it easier to read. And if you've done it more than once, then you kind of understand that these are score lines. And so maybe it doesn't have to have the permanency. Ooh. Okay, I kind of don't like scoring off the edge because you can't see the edge of your scoreboard here. I don't want to make a hole. 1, 2, 3. 4 goes the opposite way. 5 goes down. 6. 7 goes that way, 8 goes that way. So I've scored all of the ones that go in that one direction. And now I'll score this. It is a little bit hard to know where to stop. And if you go right off the edge, you have the potential to, I don't know, possibly put a hole in your cardstock. I think this feels like it's like maybe 80 pounds, so it's not the thickest. I feel like some of my first score lines were kind of weak sauce. I'm gonna reinforce those. Okay. That was step 3. Step 4, flip paper and rotate 90 degrees. Okay. So to me, flip means this. Rotate 90 degrees. Well, it shows that your score line should be on the right edge because it doesn't say clockwise or not clockwise, but you do see the previous score lines on the right edge. So I did a clockwise rotation. And then it says score paper at all score lines from numbers 1 through 7. So you don't need number 8. Oops. So 1, 2, 3. Oh, 3 is a continuation line. 5. Can't tell if that met up with the other number 5. No, it doesn't. 5. 6 is rescoring over the same line, and then 7 goes this way. And that one. Okay. So that's what I have so far. All right. That. Cut along lines indicated in red. Use score lines as guide to cut final shape. Okay, so okay. I'm not sure. I'm gonna use my all-in-one. Oh, maybe I'll use a steel ruler. Well, let's just see if I can do the all-in-one. I was gonna say maybe I'll use the steel ruler, and just a craft knife. But let's see. So if you position it so that the part that has like no scoring is in your bottom left, that's sort of how it's shown in the photo here. So I'm gonna take this corner off first because it seems like I can just cut edge to edge. So I'm gonna line this score line so that it's in my cutting track at the beginning of the score and at the end of the score, and then I'll just cut like that. Okay. Now I need to change my blade. Look at all those fuzzies. Okay. I've been saying that I need to change my blade for a while now, so I think I'm gonna do that after I finish this project. But if you get fuzzies, all you have to do is I just keep an emery board handy and I just sand that off. Okay, the next cut looks like it looks like you can cut this triangle here, this little one, off. You could probably cut the whole triangle unless you want to try to save, because it looks like we're gonna cut this whole thing can be cut off, but what they're actually showing is that you want this shape here, like where my finger is tracing, that's the shape that you want. So I guess technically if you wanted to like leave yourself a large section, left, but it's scored, so I don't know that you would necessarily use that. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to cut off this whole triangle because we don't need it, and I feel like I'm not going to be able to save much out of it. So sometimes I like to start in the middle of my paper because when I have paper at an angle that I'm trying to cut into, sometimes it just crushes the paper instead of slicing through it, particularly when my blade is a little bit on the dull side. Okay, so then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side where I just cut this triangle off here. I'll show you what I mean. So sometimes when I go like that, oh, that one sliced. I think it's sharper cutting downwards. So maybe we'll leave that. And then what I'm gonna do is, so far I've cut off that corner, this corner, and this corner. Now I'm gonna cut all the way across this way, because this has a bunch of score lines in there. I'm not sure I'm gonna be able to really save much of that. But maybe I'll keep it. Yeah, I think I'll keep it. So then what I'm gonna do is use my trimmer just to cut this section, travel up to cut that, and then cut this and that. This is where having a drop-in blade trimmer is kind of nice. So at this point I can actually line my this up at the bottom, keep it nice and flush, and I'll cut down until I hit the score line here, which I can barely see, but I can see it. So there's that. And then I'll rotate, and I want to now cut from that down to here and then over. So I'll show it like this. So I'm at this line here, and now I just want to cut to that line there. And how I'm lining this up is I want to cut along this score line, so I'm putting this corner here in my cutting track. And I've got a flat edge here that I can make sure that I'm cutting at 90 degrees. And you just want to watch your blade. So at the edge of your blade, I'll take this off to show. At the edge of the blade, there's actually a line. And that line in the center there shows you where you are actually cutting. And so it's helpful to, especially at this angle, I can see exactly where that line is. So I'm going to put it right on that score line, and I'm going to watch it as I travel and cut from here to this score line here. So if it's easier, you can use scissors, I guess. Okay. And if I didn't get this, oh, I did get it pretty good. So there's that. So you can see I've cut that. The next line is here. And I want to go from here down to this score line. And it's the same thing. I'm cutting on the score line that basically meets up at this corner. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put that little corner and that little corner on my cutting track. Everything should be kind of squared 90 degrees. So I can line this, push it up flush against the bottom, put those corners in the track, and then drop my blade where I want to start cutting. So I'm looking at this line here, and I'm putting it on my previous cut line to pick up where I left off, and then I'm going to travel down to this line here, which I can see really easily from this vantage point looking at it. So drop it in, push it, and slow down a little when you're getting close, and then that's it. So there's that. I'm going to rotate this one. I think this is a glue tab on this end, so this side does not need the glue tab, and it shows that we can cut it off at this score line. So I just need to go down to that score line. I don't need this extra little bit here. And this time I am going to line it up flush on this side. I'm going to put that corner there because that's the score line I'm cutting on. And drop this in where I left off. And then I'm going to travel down to this line here. Okay. And then one last cut all the way off the edge to detach this. So again, I'm going to rotate, and this one, I have to look at this score line here, and I'm going to try to get this score line in my cutting track. I'm going to have to push this down a little. Okay. Alright, so that looks like it's in the cutting track. And this one's easier because if you get it started in the right spot, which is where you left off your cuts, you should be able to just go right off the edge. So there we go. And so we used this much of our 12 by 12, and this edge is a little fuzzy. And I have 3 triangular scraps plus this bit here. So then the question is, can I get 2 out of this? And can I get 2 if I flip it? You can almost get 2. So what I would do, honestly, is, because you're missing just this much, which is partially, I think, gonna be a glue tab to connect everything, if I had to guess. I don't know. Again, I'm making it a goal to really figure out, because this feels like a lot of waste. This was easy enough to do. I just feel like I would like to do this more efficiently somehow. Okay, just out of my own curiosity. Okay, you cannot do this on, you can't do this on 8.5 by 11 because you need like an extra 1/4 inch. I think you need like 11 1/4. The way that they've designed this. I feel like if they had made this a little bit more paper friendly, I would have really loved it. This is not a paper, like, it's not super efficient as a cut. Okay. So, what's next? Got everything cut, and that was step 6. Step 7, the paper should look like this after cutting. Check. Line up edge of paper along raised edge. Oh, we still need the scoreboard. Okay, not done with that yet. So line up edge of paper along raised edge indicated as box on backside as box on backside of board and punch. Backside of board. I feel like this is the back of the board. Clearly that's not what they want us to do. I think we're done with the scoring. I should put this back before I lose it. Let's look for the word box. No, wait, am I looking? Raised edge indicated as box. Oh, the back. This is the back. Got it. Got it. And it says box here. Okay. I got it. Okay, so line that up. It's showing the corner that doesn't have the extra little tab. So do that. Oh, it doesn't really fit in here. Oh, that's not the right way. Oh, it goes like that. Okay. There's really only one way it fits. Yeah, that's looking more like the picture. Thank goodness for pictures. Okay, so it goes like that. And punch. It was on top of the stamp. Okay. This does have little rubber feet at the bottom so that it doesn't slip. Okay. Next. That was 8. Flip paper and repeat step 8. So flipping to me means doing this. Oh, yeah. That would be the right thing to do. Okay. Okay, now I have that. Line up edge of paper along raised edge on other side and repeat step 8. So you just do the same thing on this side. And flip paper and repeat. Step 8. Step 8 is just the punching step. Okay. Isn't that cute? Alrighty. Rip paper notches above punched hearts. Rip? My goodness. Can we just snip it? I'm just gonna snip it. I would not want to rip it and then, like, I don't know, somehow over rip something, tear it a little bit too much, and then have to do this all over again. Let's just be deliberate and gentle. Although, why couldn't it have just punched all the way through? I'm not sure. Yeah, okay, we're almost done with the box. Glue triangle edges and bottom edge. Wow, they packed a lot in this one step. Come on, we are makers. Seriously? You haven't even told us how to fold. Oh my. Wait, did I miss a step? Oh my gosh. You kind of skipped like 4 things. If somebody was like super brand new, this is my prediction is this is where they lose people. I mean, so precise, so like detailed, really lovely, and then all of a sudden glue the triangle, fold and form cube. First off, it's not a cube because it doesn't have all 6, but that is too funny. All right, so it looks like, let's just start by folding these two because it looks like we're going to be gluing those together, and it looks like those go on the inside, so then this becomes folded like that and folded like that to make it look like that. Okay, so that's going to be one corner. So I'm going to do that again. So I'm going to pinch this to fold, then fold it back, then fold that, and mountain fold that. So let's give this one final mountain fold. So ultimately it's gonna go together like this, and then this is gonna be like a little glue tab like that. I mean, honestly, I would have had a fold step, you know, so that you know mountain, valley, mountain, 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 valley, mountain, mountain. And just because it'll look a little bit tidier, I'm gonna miter this glue tab a little bit, just so that, you know, if things don't line up 100%, it's fine. The glue tab at least won't be visible. Mitering is just taking a little sliver of a triangle so that from the corner inwards, and then that way when it meets up on the other side, if you're off a little bit, it won't be the end of the world. Okay, they do show very clearly where to put your glue, and so I'm gonna use what it looks like they're suggesting, liquid adhesive, to make this nice and strong. And I've got a little bit of dried glue in my glue tip here, so just pick that off a little bit. Okay, so, oh, maybe I have more than a little bit of dry glue. There we go. I'm gonna try, I don't want a lot oozing out, but I am gonna try to get some good, if this is where the rubber band is going, which is what it looks like, I really want this to be strong so that it can hold whatever tension the rubber band is going to. It's not really lining up. I don't know if I just didn't score it well, or I don't know. That didn't really line up the way I thought it would. I don't know if I maybe didn't do it precisely, but probably good habit to burnish all of our fold lines, trying to get everything nice and flush as well. But this is just the first one. I don't even know if I'm going to make this into a final project, but maybe I will. I have an idea for what I would like to fill this first one with, so we'll see how far I get. If I do the whole thing on camera, or if I just finish it off camera and come back and show you. Alright, so there's that. And then glue on this one. I wonder if this one's gonna line up. I thought I did a good job putting it in the board. I'm wondering if it's supposed to be like 100% lined up. See, this one's 100% lined up. I did good on this one. I don't know what happened on that other side. This not so much. Don't know what happened. And then I'm not sure if at the end of the day that's going to have a material difference. But and then you just glue this final tab to the opposite side. Since this is meant to fold down and be put into a card or into an envelope, I'm gonna glue it folded down so that we know there's nothing that's gonna be bulky. It'll be nice and flat. Sometimes when I try to glue these things held up in their three-dimensional form, it doesn't fold down flat because I'm not holding it in the right way. So this ensures that it's going to line up exact. Because if I tried to put this all the way, for example, if I tried to put this all the way to that corner, it wouldn't lay flat anymore, because that's just not where it's going to land when you do try to flatten it. So that's why I always do that that way. All right, here we go. So this will be fun. You have these edges that you can decorate with cool things. Fold and form cube, insert rubber band in slots. Use 2 rubber bands for a stronger explosion effect. Let's just do one to start. Oh, these look pretty sturdy. You get a lot. How many do you get? Let me see if that was in the packaging. Include stamps. 50 rubber bands. That's generous. Because are you going to make 50 of these cards? I mean, over time, eventually, maybe, but... Or 25 if you want the super strong ones. 50 seems generous. So I'm just separating that a little bit. And hooking this in. Okay, so there's that. And ooh, that is kind of strong. Okay, and then we do get little, oh, how darling is that? You do get these little heart confetti bits that you can use inside. And I guess with some of all this extra waste, you could just punch. Like I can just go here and, you know, put my paper through and just punch out some extra hearts. I gotta say the punch is not like, I don't know, I kind of feel like I'm having to exert a lot of force. Other punches seem to go a little bit more smoothly, I feel. But you know what? This is kind of cute as one of those like, you know, those little bread bag clips. That would be kind of cute, kind of fun to make that, and then you can just cut if you wanted to do a little, here, let me just do it and I'll show you what I'm talking about. I think this would be cute as a little accent, little embellishment piece. Okay, hold on, let me see if I can make what I'm talking about here. So you just put this in, you give it a little punch anywhere you want, like that, and then stay with me, friends. You just do a little rounded corner here and a rounded corner there, and then let's do a nice straight cut. And then, isn't this cute? Wouldn't that be cute? It's just like a little embellishment piece on a card or something. I think that would be kind of fun. All right. So I derailed myself a little bit. Where am I? Okay, so we're done with the box. So now what? We're gonna do the tray. To create a tray, trim cardstock to 5 by 5. Let's hope I can get 5 by 5 out of this. Just to use it, I guess, because I don't know that necessarily I would want it the same color, but let's just try to see if we can get that. I don't think I can trim it on this. Alright, so 5 by 5. It looks like there's plenty. Can I get it out of this? Oh, I can get it out of... Oh, but I can't... Oh, what's more efficient? I'll just cut it from this. Okay, so 5 by 5. Okay, now I have this much left over. Then we need our punch board again. Align right edge of paper to raised edge indicated as tray. You know, it's weird because they refer to the etched, you know, the etched words as raised edge. Those aren't raised. It's actually engraved in. Oh, are they? Maybe they're referring to these as raised edges, like the wall? I don't know. Maybe that's what it's referring to. I think so. But I found the word tray, and that's where we gotta put it. And then it says score paper at tray score line, which is number 5. So then if you actually look at this here, it says tray score line number 5. but if the 5 wears off as eventually, this is engraved into the plastic, so that you have that as a reminder. Score paper at tray, score line. I'm guessing, is that just in half? Gets a little bit scary to score right off the edge, but I guess you can. Flip paper and repeat step 3. Really? Flip the paper and... Oh, I was at the wrong... Whoopsies. My bad. I was in the wrong little area. I was supposed to be here. Okay, my tray is gonna have an extra score line. That's where the first one should have gone. Then you flip it over. This is so fitted now. Makes so much more sense. Okay. Better. Got it. Okay. Next, we want to line up the edge of the paper along ways. Oh, I did that. We're on the back side, meaning here, and then it has the word tray engraved here, so that's where I want to be. And we want to line it up so that one of the score lines, because it's 5 by 5 square, but you want to line it up so that you've got your score line is horizontal, it looks. So I'm going to put that there. And punch. Yeah, okay. All right. Flip and repeat the punch. All right, there we go. And then, oh, we have to cut some stuff off of this. So we have another couple of little hearts. My little pile of hearts is accumulating. Alright, so now we cut. Oh, it's just making a little handle, but that looks weird. It's okay, I guess I'll roll with it. It's just gonna have like a weird shape there, but so you could cut with your scissors is what they're showing, but let's just put this in here, lining up that score line, and I'm gonna just start at the bottom of my heart and slide it out. Oh yeah, it's still attached up there, so drop it in, and then we'll just snip right here, and I'll give that a snip. Okay, so there we go. And then what they want us to do is fold along this score line. So I've got like an extra, that was my boo-boo, got an extra little score line there, but that's okay. And we don't want to, you don't actually need to fold that other score line. That was just so that we have a line to cut on. And then I've got my tray done. So the last thing is the envelope. I think the envelope is, I wonder if this is gonna just fit into an A2 envelope. So I'm kind of curious. So this measures, if it's gonna go, oh, so this is 5 5/8. So that's a little bit bigger than an A2 card, because an A2 card is 5.5. So I'm not too sure if that's actually going to fit in your standard A2 envelope. But what I'm gonna do is see if I have one handy here. No, it doesn't look like I do. I'm gonna turn the camera off and go find an A2 envelope, because I'm kind of curious to see if it will still fit, because you know, an A2 envelope tends to be a little bit bigger than than 5.5 exact. So 1 second. Okay, so I am back, and I mean the next thing that we're gonna need to do is to make an envelope, but I'm just kind of curious to know if it'll fit into an A2 size envelope. So here's an A2 card, like a very standard A2 card, and this is a pretty tight fit for an A2. So, but it fits. Okay, so that's an A2 envelope. This needs to go inside with this all the way in to here. And oh, look at this. It might fit. Oh, look at it fits. This will fit into an A2. And so the idea is that you would pull it out and this would spring out at you. So let's load it with, let's pull this out. So now there's tension. Let's just put the heart confetti. So this goes in here, in there. Drop some confetti in. You can hold the rubber bands together. There's only one rubber band, but you can hold the rubber band to keep the tension. And I wonder what size envelope. It says it's starting with an 8x8, which I think is the standard for custom making an A2 envelope. So I wonder if ultimately the custom made envelope is just a little bit less snug than this. Kind of curious. Okay, so there it is in there. It's all loaded. My thought was I would make a Halloween card and I cut out some ghosts to drop in and have the ghosts fly out. Okay, so that's that. Let's see how they tell us to load this up. So they do want you to stamp pull here and then hold here on the and that's weird that they're saying hold here, I guess, on the envelope. Insert confetti. Oh, insert confetti above the box. Hold on. I did that wrong. I put it inside the box. So you want the confetti. You want... Oh, that's why. Because when it springs open, you want the confetti. You want the box springing open to splatter the confetti. So I'm going to push this down like that. And then slide my confetti over the box. That's what you want to do. Not inside the box. Okay. So there we go. Then now, let's see this in action. If we hold this and we hold the envelope. And oh man, that's cool. Okay, I want to watch that in slow-mo. I might do some editing to play it back in slow-mo. Okay, that was fun, but now my ghosts are everywhere. Okay, that was pretty cool. So you don't really need to make the envelope if you don't want. This is gonna fit into an A2 envelope just fine. Oh man, how many ghosts did I start with? I should have counted them. They went far. That was cool. Okay. I'm gonna finish this off camera and then I'll come back. I'm gonna decorate this a little bit. I'll come back and I'll show you the final. I do think this is kind of fun, and I think for a kid, oh my gosh, I have one all the way up here. It'll be fun to just have this explosion effect. I'm gonna maybe load it up with some different colored hearts and whatnot. Maybe I'll find some small little pumpkins or something and have that fly out as well. This is actually from the Hero Arts Boo to You die set, and it's got different size ghosts, but I used the little itty bitty one here, and that seems to be a nice size. I wasn't too sure how small you needed the confetti to be, but I think, oh gosh, I'm finding ghosts all over. Here's another one. But I think that was a good size. I think I kind of want some different colored hearts, maybe some different colored confetti or different types of confetti. It is nice to use slightly bigger things so that it's an easier cleanup at the end of the day, easier to find all the pieces. I think it would be really awful to put something like glitter or sequins or something, because that's going to be such a mess to clean up. All right, so let me decorate this some, because I think there's some good opportunity to decorate. I do think it's worthwhile stamping pool here, and I feel like the hold here is going to become evident, that you need to hold it in order to, because somebody might feel inclined to like pinch and hold this, and not know that, you know, they're holding something and pulling the same thing at the same time. So I don't know that the hold here is necessary, but the pull here, because that's, the hold here is just going to happen as a matter of course. But I think I'm going to do that again. So let me decorate it. I'll load it all up again, and we'll do another fun little explosion. All right, friends, I am back. I've decorated my little explosion card, and let's open it up. Pull here. So I thought this would be a really fun place to add a little bit of a sentiment. And then for my confetti, I included Boo to You as a couple of pieces of those. So those are everywhere. There's some additional ghosts. There's some hearts, of course, from the punch board itself. And then on this portion, I actually used some of my own digital papers, and I used like leftover scraps, and I punched some hearts out of that too. So I thought this would be a fun place to decorate, and I left another panel here. So this would be a good place to maybe sign a message. This is a lot of fun. I think this is pretty cool. I think the best way to load this is to just put it in empty to start. Kind of how I did it the first time too. I would not put the confetti in until you've got this in your card, at least part of the way, and then you can kind of hold this down, and you're trying to get the confetti inside the tray but on top of your pop-up box. So that's sort of the trick, is to just start to slide these things in, but try to get them so that they are just in that tray. And kind of fun. Now I wouldn't leave the rubber band pulled with tension like this, because usually they'll just make it less strong over time. But we'll do this one more time. Maybe I'll put it in slow motion. Oh, well, not maybe. I'm for sure gonna slow motion this because I think it's just so fun. And so once it's loaded, probably have some other bits around my desk. But I think that'll be enough to get the idea. You can push this all the way in and close this up. I don't think you're gonna need I'm gonna give this to my husband and watch him play with it and see if it needs the hold here. But you just pull this out, and that's so fun. I think this is really awesome, and you can imagine making one of these for all sorts of occasions, and putting all sorts of things on the inside. So there you have it. My first look at the We Are Makers Explosion card punch board. Lots of fun. I'm gonna play with the punch board some more, maybe study this a little bit and see if there's a way to actually make it, but make it with a little bit more of an efficient use of cardstock so that we are not, we don't have so much waste left over, because there's like a lot of, really odd shaped leftover pieces from that 12 by 12, and I kind of feel like maybe it might have been possible to get 2 of the box cards out of a 12 by 12. I'm not sure, but let me play around with that a little bit and see what I can come up with. I'll have that in a separate video, and if I manage it, I will link to it at the end of this one. Thank you so much for checking out my first look of the We Are Bakers explosion card box, or explosion card punch board. Let me know what you think of it in the description box below. Do you have one? Do you love it? Do you hate it? I would love to know your thoughts. And until next time, happy crafting and have a fabulous day. Bye.